Hey, welcome
So,
back. No,
Welcome back.
just didn't see you
They've
there.
been waiting. Oh, they've been waiting on SoundCloud for a week. Like, oh hey,
Refresh the page.
oh hi, I didn't see you there. I was too busy trying to
Oh.
start the podcast.
All right, hey, welcome back to the Comfycast. This is episode 4. I'm Reddish Blues, and today I'm joined by, as usual, Mr. Hoot,
hello.
Varia,
Hi.
and a very, very special guest, Mr. Dr. CD. You want to say
It's
hello?
your boy.
The thunder from
Bomb.
down under.
Bomb.
It's Homo Curl himself.
Mr. CD, our resident Australian. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Thanks for
Almost
listening.
come back.
If you've listened to this many episodes, thank you. You
You're
probably
here
have-
forever.
What's wrong with you?
You can never leave.
Thanks
I
to
hope-
you, our listener.
I hope you found our Patreon.
Singular.
Yeah, all right, guys. What's going on? We got a lot to talk about. A lot this week. Terrible things. Terrible things happened in video games.
Well, I'll go light since my week probably been the lightest since the last time, which was
Yeah, we'll start off like usual.
Fine.
What have you been playing?
almost nothing because I've been busy with my convention. I did play one thing though,
Sounds like
out
me.
of friends, and I did play through almost the entirety. Well, one could say the entirety of Star Fox Zero,
Ooh.
and I don't like that game. I think it's the critics, while I have been kind of bashing that game, and I think it's sort of justified, but not necessarily because of the controls. Like a lot of people are harping about the controls. I tolerate them at best.
It's
but-
the actual game you don't like.
Yeah, it's really like the entire level design and the entire replayability. I just find it way weaker to Star Fox 64.
So in other
That's
words,
sad.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
No.
pretty much. No, it's
What's-
just this has just a little. It's very much like someone looked at Star Fox 64 and took the most superficial aspects of it, but with very little, what do you call it, heart. Like, there's not a lot of personality behind it. There's not a lot of like variety and bosses like it was in 64. Like, you remember all the bosses in 64? They all have their little personality or quirks and stuff like that. And there was a lot of different, cool, different areas you could go through different routes. And here it's like they have all kind of that, but it's the most basic integration of these aspects.
That's pretty sad.
And
Did
while
you play the
64
guard game?
was while 64 was mostly on-rail shooter with a bit of all-range, here it's mostly all-range with on-rail shooter. And I wasn't such a fan of like the all-range combat, which for people who don't know is like when you stop just going in forward and then you have to start circling around. Like you had that for certain bosses in Star Fox 64. And here's like most of the levels are like this, and it's just I'm utterly bored by that game. I played through it once. I've seen a bit of the alternate routes that my friend has been showing me. I have no desire to pick up that game ever again.
Well, that's too bad.
So yeah,
Poor Star
if
Fox.
you people want Star Fox, just pick it up on a bargain. Yeah, that's kind of like a sad note to end the Wii U
The Wii U, yeah. Well,
software, but we're gonna get to that later.
yeah, that does suck. I didn't have any interest in Star Fox, the Wii U game. I haven't played Star Fox since Super NES, but I didn't have any interest in it. But man, that's pretty sad. I really just thought it was controls, people were getting used to it and stuff, but it sounds like it's just a boring game.
Yeah, it's like you remember, like this is an example. It's also very more limiting. Like there's a level in 64 where you have to stop a missile from hitting your big ship, the Great Fox. Remember that? And in 64, either you succeed, then you go then to the harder zone, or you fail, and then the game goes, okay, well, you'll go to the easier zone next. But
Oh yeah, like it splits off in the different
yeah, it
planets
splits
or
off
whatever.
like
Yeah.
depending on your success, and that was a really cool figure because also this is kind of, if you're good at the game would recognize that through like how you complete a level, and then okay, you can go through the harder route or the easier route. But it's in Zero. But if you if you get hit by the missile, it's not like, oh, you get the easier route. It's just game over. Redo the mission until you get it. So it's kind of these kind of things that I was pretty much displeased with. It's just like, take all the ideas from 64, but strip them of all the interesting stuff. And yeah, the little chicken walker, like the chicken junker thing,
Oh yeah, chicken junker.
is not like the most interesting thing to pilot. It's like, it's just, and the gyro is even worse. It's just so damn boring.
Well, that's sad.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on Zero. Haven't, like, even though I talked about it last time, I haven't had time to try Neo. I'm probably gonna do it right after we do this podcast.
Downloading as we speak.
So yeah, pretty much. I've been swamped, like convention is like next week, so I'll be much busy with that. But yeah, Neo is still on my radar. Yeah, pretty much nothing else since last time.
Gotcha. Well, I guess I'll go next. I have played Neo. Not much of it, but I downloaded the demo thinking, oh, I gotta play this because Hoot and Vari are definitely gonna play this. And then I think you haven't, so.
You're half right.
It's alright. I mean, it's very Souls. You know,
I heard it
there's.
has some Ninja Gaiden stuff in it. Like, the combat is way more technical.
I didn't get very far in it. Like, yeah, there's stances and stuff, and I think I leveled up like twice or whatever, and then it's fun. It looks really great. Combat is it. What I don't like about it, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but something about the camera feels off, and it's just coming off of playing a lot of Bloodborne, right? But like, I haven't played Dark Souls 3, but when I'm like targeting, something still doesn't feel as like this, as smooth as the way the camera felt in Bloodborne to me. Like, I don't know what it is, but I die a lot because of it, and it's annoying. But it might just be me. I don't know. I'm not really good at those games to begin with.
Well,
but
I mean, it's been developed by Team Ninja. They're pretty infamous for having, very awkward camera angles in most of their games. Like, say, with Ninja Gaiden, they didn't necessarily get it right with their very first game. They seem to, I guess, learn from their mistakes in the second game, but I don't know. From what I've watched from like streams and stuff, because I'm a pleb who's extremely picky with his money, I watch video game streams to decide what games I want to buy. With Neo, like, it doesn't even strike me as a Souls game. Just more, I don't know, a slower paced. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, it's kind of just more like a beat 'em up in a way. You're just kind of running around. I mean,
it would more strike me as a really boring Dynasty Warriors, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really have that like Dark Souls feel of like get punished for making mistakes, stuff like that. It's basically like, if you can make a mistake, you can just keep on going and eventually beat the shit out of them. But as far as it doesn't really have that edge to it. I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't know, since I haven't played it. You need to be playing these sorts of games to really get a feel for how the controls work. But from what I've seen from video streams, it seems a lot more forgiving and more like, again, just like Dynasty Warriors with a lot less people with a lot more health.
right. It's very big on stamina. If you run out of stamina, like you're fucked. Like if you're fighting anyone, But if you just maintain it, that's really all you need to do. Like if you can just like dodge out before you run out, and then kind of back away a little bit while you regain some stamina, or use those little things to give you stamina back. It's not that it's not. I'm not trying to say it's easy, because I did die a bunch of times, especially to that. I only made it to one of the first boss guy thing, but yeah,
it's less about just knowing when to attack, more about resource management, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's something you'd see more akin to side scrollers than third person beat 'em ups or anything.
Yeah, but I tried it out. Other than that, I mean, well, Vari, what did you think of it? I mean, I know you played it.
Oh, me? Well, I had a really long discussion with a friend of mine over Neo, and I'm not really happy with the combat. One, because the stances don't really like give you any benefit other than like I guess the spear.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Uh,
stopped changing. Like I just stopped
yeah,
changing after a while. It was cool in the
there's
first
really no
time,
point
but
to the
yeah, I
stances
stopped
other
changing.
than I think the spear is the only one that gives you a few benefits because you can sweep and it gives you more range in some attacks. What else? The camera thing, I kind of felt that too, but it was more about the lock-on system because the thing with the lock-on system is like, for example, in Dark Souls, when you're like backing away, it's like more like you're walking backward. In Neo, it's more like, oh, it's changing from
You're like,
this
yeah, you're fully
Completely
turning
change
around.
direction.
Yeah,
one
you're fully
versus
turning
one,
around.
and then suddenly you're running away, which is pretty weird because like I don't want to run away, I just want to back up.
Yeah, that's what it
What
is. That's
else?
exactly what it is.
I think CD was right when he said there's not really much. I think Koei Tecmo is more known about for like samurai warriors and all that stuff, and like Musu games. But I think oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. But
Well,
oh
hey,
yeah, it was
Defeating
about I
Team.
think the whatchamacallit. Jeez, but come back to me. Come back to me.
I'll cut around this if you want. It doesn't matter. No, but yeah, I felt
Thinking of
it,
the name of the
exactly what you
team.
said. Exactly what you said about the camera. Cut me off if you remember what you were going to say, but exactly what you said about the camera. I'm backing up, thinking like I'm gonna keep my. I'm focused on him. I target him, so I want to focus on that on the enemy, and I back up thinking like I'm gonna do the kind of Bloodborne thing or Souls thing where it's like I'm focused on you. I'm gonna fight you, but the whole camera shifts like you're turning around, and it's just like, oh shit! Now I'm like running away, and like I start running away, and they're chasing me still, and then you stop to turn around, and then they get you. So it's like fuck. I don't know.
Oh, I remember. I remember what I was gonna say. It was about the punishing thing, and the thing is, I think the game. I think CD's right, like in that the game does not know how to punish you correctly, since like I think the enemies are pretty aggressive, way more aggressive than they were in Bloodborne. I think, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because I would aggro like two people, and because one guy was hidden or something, right? And I would try to run away and de-aggro them, and they
Try to use
follow
those
you
rocks.
across the map.
Oh
Holy
yeah.
crap!
Some like
They
four
do
dudes
not
chase
stop.
me. They chase me back to the
And
first
they're
player thing.
relentless.
Yeah.
This isn't like some Assassin's Creed combat where like they take, they fight you one at a time. No, they all come at you at the same time, and really you don't have any you don't have any kind of move that focuses on like more than one person. So you're kind of stuck choosing to fight one person at a time in like these small pockets of like free space that you have. Like you have to worry constantly about people, enemies, and like those weird enemies that come out off the ground. I think I just managed to see a few of them in one area, but
Did you get
Okay,
to that
so
dude with the two big ball and chain things on his feet?
no, because I think I got lost. I was gathering a whole bunch of these like what was the thing called that like leveled you up? I forgot. It was like it started with an A or something. Atsuma or something. I don't even know.
I can't remember.
Amarita, yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
Amarita, yeah.
Something like that. And I kept getting a whole bunch, like thousands, and then I would always die to something stupid.
You gotta go
And
find a little kami fox to get him
yeah,
back.
and the thing is, like, those things are so far away, so spread out.
Yeah.
Like, I would take this huge long turn, and like my dog thing would be like in the middle of all these like enemies.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to bother after
So,
that.
speaking of which, like, how's the like, is there any work on the level design? Is this something like they also took
Look-
on Souls, which is more like multi-layered,
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
like straightforward?
They try to do the Souls thing where like the world kind of tries to interconnect, but the thing is, I really don't feel like there's a point to interconnecting in those levels because I managed to find this area with a whole bunch of like enemies, and it links back to where you first spawn in the game, and I'm like, okay, what's the point of me coming here? I just
Yeah.
cleared all the whole area. There's no like.
Other
I
than
mean-
other than a fast track back to where you can level up, do all your things at the
Yeah,
prayer
I know,
thing.
but the thing is, when you find that area, like that ladder where you can like go back to that previous area, there's like another one of those shrines like behind a rock or something. So there's not much point to it,
yeah, that's true. It's like a lot of. I mean, again, and this is a demo. Like who knows, what it's gonna be like. But judging off of that, it's like it seems like they shot for it to be very much Souls-like, and then there's things we're expecting from it because of that, and it's kind of falling short. But I don't know. Maybe they'll change stuff. The camera, if they could just work on the camera, that'd be great. But who knows?
Also, I really hope they introduce some, cleave mechanics or multi-target things because, like you said, there's you're really only limited to a one-on-one target thing, and if you get into a 2v1 fight or a 3v1 fight, it obviously gets very awkward. So what I'd like to see is maybe some cleaving weapons, or maybe just some way to like balance multiple things. So it doesn't feel like you're instantly fucked whenever you aggro more than one person.
Yeah, because basically you get more, like two, like maybe you can deal with, but anything other than that, you're just, I mean, you might as well just stand there and just die. Run
exactly.
to a spot where you can go back.
I'm not a fan of that kind of gameplay. You should, if you're a very seasoned gamer, and obviously speedrunners going to fucking hate this, but if you aggro more than one person, there should be a way to feasibly destroy them all using a reasonable amount of effort. Obviously, it should be more difficult, but it shouldn't come at the cost of health or difficulty.
Yeah, because then if you don't have that, it becomes a stealth game. Like if you're trying to not creep and like throw rocks to pull one person at a time and not aggro everybody. Like to me, it's like there should be something I can do, like you said, like not to obviously if you pull like 8 people, you fucked. You should be fucked. If you're that stupid.
Exactly. But, you should get fucking wrecked for that.
Yeah, I want to feel like I can take on 3 dudes.
Moment, carry on.
No, I'm saying I want to feel like I can take on 3 dudes in the game, like like separately or like together somehow. But you're right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel like a World of Warcraft fucking raid or something where you're trying to aggro like one thing at a time. You should be able to aggro some of them and then just pick them off one by one without getting punished too hard.
True. At the same time, though, I understand, like, they want to make everyone a challenge, everything strong. Also, have you tried to summon, like, or whatever it's called, to bring, like, those, like, players, like, to fight them? Like, not real people, but, like, where they died or whatever?
Yeah, that's so actually hard. Something I wanted to say about so that. Hard.
I took on a level, it was just, like, a level 1, whatever it was. We had a spear already, and I was just, like, fucked. I could not beat him.
I actually think that was a pretty interesting, like, thing. I enjoyed it a lot. It's pretty cool.
There's so many too. They're like scattered. You see like everywhere you go, you can summon. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Moving on to CD. We'll go with
CD.
CD. What have you been playing?
Well, shit. I've actually been revisiting a lot of the. I guess you can't call them old, but like some of the more older games that are around. I've been playing Dust and Elysian Tale. I've been revisiting that game because I still gotta fucking get my Chivos, And there was also this other game that I'd completely forgotten about. It's been sitting in like my Steam, just like, and I've glanced over it for however many years now. But it was a game called Bleed, and funnily enough, I actually heard about it through a fucking League of Legends streamer. He would play the game while in queue. So basically, what Bleed is, it's a side-scrolling game, obviously, and I don't know how to explain it. It's really a game that you have to experience for yourself, obviously, because there's not really any streamers out there that can like show the game to you. I might actually stream it after we're done with this podcast, actually. But basically, it's just a side-scrolling gung fu game. You can like dash in the air. You can be like super fucking tricky with pistols and rockets and shit, and everything feels very arcadey. You got all these ridiculous bosses which do all these very segmented mechanics and stuff. You got like one that multiplies every hour or so, and it's basically a speed run. And then you got the textbook like fucking worm that comes out of the earth and shit. You got to have one of those in every side-scrolling game, otherwise it's not a side-scrolling game. And shit, I don't know how I forgot about it, man, because when I picked it up, I just had so much goddamn fun with it. It's one of those games where like you wish you were better at it because you can pull off so much funky garbage with it.
Sounds fun. I've never heard of that. Is it it's like a platformer?
Yeah, it's like a platformer indie game, but you can't really call it a platformer because from what I remember of it anyway, most of the surfaces are flat and you're not really utilizing the terrain that much. It's basically just, utilizing what you have. So dashes, different weapons, things like that. And I think that's really what brings the game into its own light. It doesn't feel like a Mega Man shooter or anything like that where you're assessing the situation, making correct judgments based off that. It's more of a just straight up test your reflexes game.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
React accordingly or you die. That kind of garbage.
Kind of fast paced.
Yeah, that's something that really, really appeals to me. Plus, it has like fucking slow down and like fucking Mega Man super dashes and shit. Mode. Yeah, bullet mode and stuff. And how can you not love bullet mode? Like, it's such a simple, overused mechanic, but you can't feel like it's out of place in any video game ever.
Well, that's cool. Anything else? You've been playing anything else?
Well, obviously, all the people situated before me here have played Dust, right?
No.
I played
Dust because I only heard one person play it, and all they told me was like a free adventure, free RPG adventure. I don't even know.
It does cater to a very select audience, but I feel like for what it is, like a castle, Metroid, whatever you want to call it, Metroidvania kind of thing. I'd hate to call it a kind of genre, just exploration platform. It is a very good game. You find yourself backtracking not out of necessity, but because you want more goodies, and that's always nice to have, to not feel like you're forced to backtrack. That's something I always look for in every exploration platformer. And all the characters are likable. There's no real like cringe characters or whatever. Fidget's voice is pretty cute, and I usually hate characters with high-pitched voices. Characters are likable, environments are beautiful, and it's very difficult to believe that it's all done by one guy. Like, one guy worked on this, another guy worked on the music, and everything just connects beautifully and feels very unified. And I think that's what I love the most.
I remember the thing that stood out the most was just like the animations were like gorgeous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can tell this guy like spent his heart and soul on this game, and I think that's really what reaches out to me. Like, nothing feels jarring, everything just flows together really well.
That's pretty impressive. Just one guy. Yeah, I picked that up a long time ago, and I put in maybe like not even a whole hour into it. I just didn't finish it for some reason, but yeah, I mean, I remember had like crazy positive reviews and stuff, and then I just never finished it. But yeah, maybe I'll go back and finish that.
Each to his own. I would definitely recommend like finishing the game at some point, because there is a surprising amount of content for the actual game. Like, I remember playing it, like dedicating myself to it even a long while ago, and I still didn't finish the game. I was maybe like halfway through.
Yeah, time, man. It all takes time. Well, that's cool. All right, Varia, what else have you been playing besides Neo, which we already talked about?
Nothing. Oh no, I've been playing whatchamacallit?
Miitomo.
Yeah,
right.
Dude, I love that
like
game.
in the first podcast, but like lately they're having a free weekend this weekend, and I'm just trying to get people to play it because it's really fun with people. I played with CD yesterday. It was a fun experience. It was a rewarding experience because there's an extra 100% XP boost
Listen
this
to this
weekend.
Fucking shill, man. Oh my god.
How much are they paying you?
Nexon. I sound a thing with Nexon. I can't really say. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I
downloaded
downloaded
it.
man hearing behind you.
He's actually
it today.
signed away his soul.
I downloaded it today because I saw that post you made about everybody getting together on the weekend to play it. So I was like, oh, all right. Free to play. I'll give it a shot. But I haven't launched it.
Remember that $4.99 buys you like
$5,000
NX. I'm sorry.
$4.99 buys you what?
It's like NX. It's like a Nexon currency, like a Nexon card. Yeah,
Oh.
You know, pick those up at your local 7-Eleven, Wawa.
What are they good?
Walgreens,
What are they good
Rite
for
Aid.
exactly? What do you get? You get unlocks like skins or actual weapons or what?
They're
No,
really
I'm just
dodgy skins
joking.
at the moment.
All you use that for is skins, honestly.
Oh well, hey, they got to
See,
make the money somehow.
I don't really appreciate the skins of the game because there isn't much diversity with them. Obviously, it's still in early access. They've got to work on all the cosmetics and stuff. They want to get the core gameplay down first. But I really don't see any reason to buy any NX for anything other than maybe boosts for your weapons or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy boosts and stuff and like upgrades for weapons just by playing the game, which I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, they made sure to leave all that cosmetic stuff purely like, or you can use real money to buy that.
I can appreciate that. Like, there's a lot of negative flags to obviously like buy for power or shit like that. But I feel like a lot of like this isn't just limited to Ghost in the Shell. A lot of like developers, in MMO scenes, MOBAs, just any game focused on microtransactions and stuff. I feel like everybody's gotten the hang of it. You can grind out the game, just play the game, and get all the stuff you want. Eventually, you're going to need to put a lot of hours in it, or you can just buy it outright. I feel like that's a really solid way of doing things. Like, everything's available to you, but you can get it quicker if you buy it.
Yeah, WoW does that.
Really
World of Warcraft does that. They have a thing where you could just, buy level 50, is it?
Yeah. You can buy an instant boost to, like, level 90 or something. Shit. And I think that's like really solid because I wouldn't want to grind through all that early content again just to like level up a different class or something. I've already experienced the game once. Why experience it again when I just want to play the end game with this one specific thing?
Yeah, exactly. Or people who haven't experienced, they're just like they're playing, or their friends like, oh, we're playing the end game content, new expansion or whatever, and they're like, fuck, I got to sit through all of the game to catch up to you guys to play with you. So. It makes sense. But we'll try it out this weekend. All of us, hopefully, or more of us people from the dub track room. Anyways.
Oh, you're going to love my 150 ping, man. It's off the hill.
360 no scope. Oh,
it'll
baby,
be like more like a fucking 360 millisecond no scope. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, and moving on to news. Here we go. We got a lot of news. Let's start with the biggest bomb of all that came, 2 days ago? Which was in a report to their investors. Nintendo announced that the NX was not going to be shown at E3 and was going to be releasing in 2017 in March.
I'm actually really surprised that they're not showing it at E3. This is a very, very interesting decision on their part because once they release it in 2017, who's going to be excited for it? I feel like E3 is one of the most major events of the year, and even if they show off an early model of the NX, it'll just attract a lot of investor attention and stuff. And
even
I feel
just
like
to mention it, they should just mention it. We're still working on something, But for what boggles my mind is to come out and say specifically we're not gonna talk about it. You take away all hype, you take away all for it, that seems like a bad decision in my mind. Now I understand you're tempering expectations, I get that, but at the same time, you shouldn't say anything,
Yeah, it's fucking retarded. Don't come out and say something negative like that. That is bad press, and I feel like Nintendo, forgive my language, has one of the most fucking retarded marketing departments I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is coming from somebody that studies business for a living. I studied human resource management for a long, long, long time. And, you learn some marketing biz and shit from that as well. And I have to say, where the fuck did these people get their degrees? It absolutely infuriates me to no end how they handle, most of this shit.
It's very strange, and let me just stop and say real quick, it's funny how you were like, they're fucking retarded, and then later you were like, let me, excuse my language, but they're fucking retarded. You said it twice, but only the second time did you say, excuse my language. No, but what were you gonna say when we were talking about it?
Yeah, for me, the more shocking thing is not exactly that they're not gonna talk about the NX or show the NX, they're probably gonna mention it in passing. Just, it's more so that we only gonna show Zelda at E3.
Well, okay. Now that's the two things, though. They said that's all they're gonna have on the floor for people to play. But they might announce more games. They might not even have a conference at all, is what they're saying.
If you're not gonna talk about the NX, you're not gonna show games for the NX or talk about games for the NX.
Exactly.
And there's not a lot left for the Wii U. There's Zelda that we pretty much know, and now it's gonna be also gonna release also on the NX.
Yeah, it's another thing.
So we're gonna have another Twilight Princess stuff on our hands, which is gonna be fucking solid, as we all know. But yeah, what's left for the Wii U this year? This Paper Mario. I have to look this up because I don't even know myself.
It doesn't feel like they have much on the table besides this new
Like
thing
Star
they're working
Fox
on.
came out,
Exactly.
Twilight Princess came out.
In
Like,
my
there's
mind,
nothing
the
left.
games that are left for the games that are coming out for Wii U are the games that are already out because I just haven't played them or have no interest to play them. So like Star Fox or Pokken Tournament, like
Yeah, I feel
it.
like they're not going to have enough substance for this E3, and that really worries me. You know, like in all three E3s past, they've at least had, you know, a lot of news and new material and stuff, because obviously, like, the Wii U was, you know, still relevant, I guess. But I feel like with the new year that's coming, you know, they're obviously trying to. The Wii U's dying out. People are losing interest, even with, you know, big titles last year like Bayonetta 2 and so. But it's going to be hard keeping people's attention in their brand and their franchise if they don't announce this NX. I feel like that is a really dodgy move on their part. At least, you know, announce a lot of new games or announce shit that you are working on to keep people interested in you. Like, just talk about the NX in depth and talk about your ideas. Not necessarily, don't call them promises as to what the final product will be, but just like talk about things that you're thinking about.
Yeah, just I would say, look, Nintendo never has a conference that they do. It's been a while since they don't do that. They do their directs, right? So they don't have to come on stage. I'm not saying they need to do that. I'm saying it's weird to say like, oh, we're not going to talk about it there. We're going to have Zelda, and also it's not for the Wii U. It's for Wii U, but it's also coming to NX. So later, 2017. Like, why? I understand you have your investor meeting to deal with, but to go that far to let all that out seems like a bad move in my mind. They could have just said like, yes, it's coming to NX. You know, we'll have more on that later.
It's bad PR. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's just weird. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. I'm not saying who knows what they're going to talk about, if they're going to talk about anything again.
The funny thing too is like they said, oh, we could, like the NX is launching in March, so like there will be games to go along with it.
Yeah.
And like I think I've heard this before, and in fact I have. I was on GAF, and like someone, some awesome guy, basically sourced every article from the past maybe 10 years, which all say exactly the same thing. The first one, like, they're all from Iwata, so rest his soul, but still, like, it kind of tells you the pattern here. Like, Iwata says we will avoid major droughts that plagued GameCube, that was in 2007. Then promises that 3DS will avoid major droughts that plagued the Wii and DS.
Yeah.
That was a few years later. That promises the Wii U will avoid major droughts that plagued the 3DS and the Wii. And then apologizes for Wii U drought in January and February. And now we have, like, NX launching in March to make sure there are games to go along with it. So I'm kind of being super doubtful on
it's a running joke that they're playing on this, basically.
And like, yeah, you always have the same
it's a PR, yeah.
Song and dance
Please
before
understand.
each console, where you have like quote unquote insiders and there's gonna be like so many games. Like, yeah, I remember that people were saying that for the fucking Vita and PS4, and like we can see where we are 3 years later. There's been some good games. There's been like a handful of great games. Like, it's still hard for me to recommend like PS4 today, and for like based on exclusive titles, because I only have like a few on the top of my head.
Bloodborne
and the Wii U. I always like say Bloodborne and like maybe Until Dawn and stuff like that. But like most of the stuff is multiplat after that. But the Wii U, it got good after 2 years and only on first parties. And the more we go, and like the more the first parties are kind of crumbling on the sides. They already are pretty much telling outright, we're not gonna focus on third parties. We're gonna like reinforce our first party. So
that's actually a really good point. That might be why they're keeping quiet about the NX, because obviously the Wii didn't pick up until 2 years prior. The 3DS was really a gimmick until like 18 months into its life cycle. I think that like might be what they're trying to avoid with the NX. Like, when people's attention peaks, that's when they release the big titles and stuff like that. So I feel like I can see that working in their favor to a degree. But I still don't understand that marketing move.
You know, this is
they are losing money. They are losing investors. They are losing the public, because people still aren't going to buy their console until it's 1 year into development. Really, that's where it's going to peak.
One thing is to be is that they have a shit ton of money. Like, they are the richest console maker out of the three. Like,
Yeah,
they
But
have
they
the
also
most...
had losing years over like the last
Yeah,
4
but
or
like
something years, didn't
they still make like they still make money like on software. Like the Wii U having sold poorly still sells like a huge amount, like the software retention, and like the 3DS alone sells hotcakes. Like, even though it's been selling less than the DS, you can look at the sales for like any Monster Hunter or Pokemon or Yokai Watch, and like it's always in the millions and millions.
yeah.
And that's in Japan only most of the time. Like worldwide, it's even bigger. So I don't think like money is an issue, but like there's a serious lack of just different
There's a lack of
parties.
exposure,
And
especially to the
strange.
Western audience.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're in trouble ever, or at least not anytime soon. Like like you said, they're sitting on a huge pile of money.
Like the
Always,
Wii itself just gave them like infinite money almost.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't think they're in trouble, but the thing is that because of the way it looks to their investors, and just because of the way it looks to consumers too. It's strange for this whole thing to me seems strange. I understand they had to have their investors meeting again. I get that, but how they handled it after that is strange to me. But I mean, I like the Wii U. I now there's not much that I have to play on it. I haven't really bought anything since Smash.
I like the software on the Wii U.
Yeah,
The console itself, I don't like it. I think it's like cheap, and I don't like the gimmick.
Yeah, I could have done without it. I could have done without the
Out
screen.
of the three consoles, it has the best software by far.
Very true.
Except like games, but when it comes to like online, Nintendo's still woefully behind the times, and I don't know if like the NX will be anything different. But yeah, like the OS is still terrible, but the actual games are very,
Might be
very
worth
good.
noting that Eastern culture doesn't really prioritize online kind of things, because you got to think about how they live over there. Internet still isn't a majority in their lives. Some of them are still using like CRT screens and shit.
Everywhere. What are you talking about? Like for Japan?
Are you talking about multiplayer or just internet in general? Because
Just
I
internet
understand.
in general,
I understand
because,
multiplayer.
Like I can say like Japan is like everyone is connected to the internet. Everyone is like on their mobile stuff like is constantly connected to the internet. I don't think that's a problem.
I wish they would fix that whole infrastructure too.
But still, online stuff isn't really something they consider a priority. Nintendo's always just wanted to make good games.
I understand that, and then that kind of stuff. It's not as important to them, but at the same time, like they're coming into. I mean, this market is like obviously since the 360, like multiplayer has been like a huge thing, and I think they have to have it in some capacity. At least if they're going into this generation willing to take on two consoles that already have that nailed, like they should try something, something better. And then that's not even talking about like our libraries. Like I have like three different accounts for Nintendo. I mean, I made the newest one or whatever, your profile thing, whatever, the new Nintendo account, but I can't go back and see really all my games, or it should be like blanketed, like everything I've ever bought from Nintendo I should be able to access, or at least see that I have those purchases somewhere. You know what I mean? They should carry over, like that's something that obviously a lot of people want, but I think that's something they should address.
I absolutely agree, but you gotta remember that Nintendo has very traditionalist values by nature. It's run by a lot of generation, like baby boomer and above people have very high positions and have all the say. And obviously, these are people that have not grown up with evolving technology, so to speak. So they're still kind of catching up. So they're getting there. They're just a little bit slower than established brands like Microsoft and Sony and stuff like that. People who are leading specialists in networking. So I don't know. Nintendo, think about it this way. Nintendo's just there for the games and the banter. Microsoft and Sony are there for the online experiences. That's their forte. Nintendo's more like, let's make a really good game, but not focus so much on the multiplayer or online side of things. That's always been somewhere where they've been lacking.
I totally get that, and I respect that. And that actually reminds me of the guy, I was watching an interview, the dude from No Man's Sky, where he's talking about all that stuff. But I agree with that, and I like it. But I'm just saying, I think that it should be there as an option. Like they should have it in some way. At least they should show that they they're listening to people that might be something that this next console should be able to do better.
You and I both know that Nintendo's a very, very stubborn and hard-headed, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Slap Mario on something.
They're almost kind of rebranding themselves. Like they're a toy company. Almost.
Exactly, but they need that. And they need to rebrand themselves, and they need to realize that. I think that they'd be in a lot better position if they. I'm not trying to say that their audience isn't kids, but it is. I'm sure a big majority of it is. But at the same time, a lot of us grew up. You know, I mean, it just happened. It's gonna happen. I mean, it did happen. But I'm saying like they're focusing on these people who they think like, why would kids these days really know Mario? They don't. They know like Minecraft. You know. Like that's what.
Well, it's the same reason as like why would kids nowadays buy Pokemon or whatever? You know, it's necessary.
No.
With Super Mario, you still have the traditionalist gameplay. Kids would still play that. They love that. They would play that. With the new Pokemons, kids still love that shit because there's new Pokemon being brought in every day. There's stuff that's more relatable to kids of now and stuff like that. I mean, like. There's a fucking keychain Pokemon now. Like that's.
I know. I would say though that as days go by, as time passes, there's their younger audience, that generation, their audience for Nintendo things, for specifically Nintendo things like Mario and stuff, grows smaller and smaller. That's what I would say because there's so many other things trying to get kids' attention. You know what I mean? Like you have like your Minecrafts and you have like other shows, other games, and even
my kids won't think I'm cool unless I'm playing the new Call of Duty.
So yeah, especially even Call of Duty. Like obviously those parents shouldn't let their young little 8-year-old kids play, but they do. Yeah, but they do. They let them play. So it's like that's another thing taking away their attention. And if all their friends are doing that, then why am I going to spend my time with Mario? Like why am I going to play Kirby's 5th fucking game on the 3DS? Like
because it's fucking fun.
We know it's fun, but I'm saying like they need to address that in some way. And I'm not saying they need to like. I don't care. I really don't care if they bring all third parties over to the like. I'm not saying Call of Duty should be played on the NX or whatever. I don't know. That'd be probably smart.
I feel like online will taint that. Like we were talking about the subject of online clearly, but I feel like that'll taint it somewhat because Nintendo games have always been, single player at heart and co-op is completely optional, online or offline. Like, I feel like they just know their focus. They know their forte and they play to that as much as possible. Obviously, they're excluding a bunch of people with online and with what they do, but this is what they do best and they're trying to do what they do best I'd
say it is what they do best, but let's look at what I think personally what was the most popular game on Wii U. I would say it was Smash 4. And a lot of that is multiplayer. And if they can't see that and realize that, like I understand co-op is a big part of that too, and you can unlock a lot of stuff in the story, or not even story, but just doing the challenges and stuff. But multiplayer and like, those kind of things, tournaments, like I think that they should at least in some way address that. And I'm hoping that they'll do that this year, or at least with the NX. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
Well, kind of going on a tangent. For me, it's like, okay, they're gonna use Zelda as the big gun for the NX for sure. Like that's going to be big system seller at launch.
Yeah,
Zelda's always been a staple for like a system seller.
Like and I don't know what else is going to be coming. Like there's tons of rumor going on with the NX. Like apparently, Retro Studio is working on something that's not Metroid and not Donkey Kong.
Not
so
Metroid.
Like something like a new IP. It's like all these rumors going on. Oh, it's like it's going to have a stacked library at launch. Like first of all, I don't believe that. And like stacked with what? Like we know kind of the Nintendo cycle at this point is like know the franchises they have, then the one they like to use. We know it's not going to be F-Zero or something like that because they hate us. But yeah, like even Zelda, because I've been kind of playing, and funny enough, I've been like watching older Zelda and replaying myself some older Zelda. I replayed I think a few weeks ago Majora's Mask, and I've been watching stuff about Ocarina and Twilight Princess. And it's after Skyward Sword, which was kind of, like it was an okay Zelda game, but like it was kind of middle of the road in a lot of parts.
Hit or miss, yeah.
Like they're gonna have to do really, really damn good job on this
Yeah.
new 3D Zelda. Than more than just like, oh, it's going to be open world. Because they're going to need as much as momentum they can. Because Zelda, as cool as it is, it's just like you said, it's a single player game on a platform like Nintendo platforms usually hold the best when they have multiplayer experiences.
It needs to draw people in, is what it is. It needs
Like,
to be appealing
they're
to a
probably
wide
gonna have
base.
like ports. Like, the one thing I'm willing to believe is that it's gonna come with straight up ports of Smash 4, Splatoon, Mario Maker.
Oh no.
Like, that's I'm pretty sure because they're not gonna remake a Smash anytime soon.
No.
Like, the one on the Wii U is such a monumental game now, and it still took some time afterwards to have like all these characters. Like, they're not gonna bother remaking a Smash. I don't think even Sakurai wants to remake a Smash game. So,
Like, you mean port it or make a new one?
ported.
I don't
I
see.
think
The only thing that would make me think they might port it is that they have so much invested in Amiibo. Like, think about all those people that have bought Amiibo and like are now like the Wii U is this is the end year for it. Like,
well,
you know, like
yeah. I mean, Smash for me, like Smash 4 is still like a fairly new game. It's not something it's something that's barely scratched the surface right now in terms of like tournaments and stuff like that. It doesn't have a lot of longevity. It doesn't have like a lot of lifetime behind it. So
that's true.
I don't think they're gonna focus on making Smash, and Mario Maker is also pretty new. It's like they're still updating it. Like, there's still potential in that one game without making a completely new one.
Here's the way I see it is I think that if they do make any of those big games like say Splatoon, say Mario Maker, say Smash, if they were to do any of those and port them over to the NX, I feel like a lot of people would be upset, obviously, because they have the Wii U version and whatever. What I think they should do is make those games, make them compatible, like kind of what they did with the Wii. Like make Wii U games compatible on the NX, and then you have it so where it's like we also make maybe one of those games.
It might very well have like backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
I think
the one thing
that would
I'm
work
still,
best for them, but who knows what.
But the
I
thing
would
I'm like,
actually be hella set. Like, if they, like, think about it. If you bought an NX and bought Smash 4 and made it compatible with the Wii U or whatever, and you were able to queue with, like, verse the same people that are on the Wii U, think of how much attention that would garner. That would instantly migrate, you know, I wouldn't even call it a small portion, but, like, I'd say borderline a majority of the people over to your new console.
the one thing that makes like Nintendo has a fairly good track record of backwards compatibility, but the one thing I remember that kind of got me worried about the new NX is the lack of any optical drive. Like, this, I remember when the specs started leaking. It was the first thing that caught my eye. Like, there's no optical drive at all.
Well, let's
Like,
talk about that too. You know, I mean, do you think it's going to be this handheld slash
I have
console
no
thing?
fucking idea, really. Like, I've seen everything and nothing about this console. At this point, like, I'm still, like, it seems to be, yeah, the consensus seems to be that it's going to be some sort of hybrid. Like, it's these awful mock-ups that were proved to be fake, which is like, like a horrible controller with like just an entire screen.
It was like a full screen and looked like a little.
Looks awfully bad, and thank God that's a fucking fake.
All the fingerprints.
Yeah, it's the one thing that seems to like, oh, this might be a pure digital console, or something at least that does not use discs in any form.
That scares me too. You know, like thinking
yeah,
of hard drive space.
Like, yeah, there's that, and like the usual shenanigans that goes with like online only, like digital only gaming. Like, this is like, it's kind of brings me back to the whole Xbox One debacle of like absolutely no physical support. Now, I know Nintendo is a bit like cooler when it comes to like sense of property with a game, but I also know they're shit when it comes to digital content.
Yeah.
So, and like especially when it comes to backwards compatibility, I don't know if they're gonna do like upgrade your game straight to the next, but that's gonna cost you a little bit more, or something like that. You know, kind of like when they're doing the like, oh, here's your purchase on the Wii,
That wouldn't be bad because that would bridge it in some way. Like,
It would bridge it.
they cannot expect people to come in like, oh, all these games just came out for Wii U or Star Fox or Pokken Tournament or Smash or whatever, and like, here's a whole new console, whole new games, and like that's in the past. Like they can't. I don't think they could do that. Like even the 3DS plays, DS games, and the Wii U. The Wii, like you said, they've always been kind of tried to keep on with backwards compatibility. So I think it has to be there in some facet, some way. But it'd be cool if it was like, if it is a handheld, like imagine if it was handheld and console, whatever, and you could just play everything that's ever existed for Nintendo on those things.
I
with
wonder
virtual console, everything.
It's just going to be like the tablet of the Wii U, but like made better without the big block.
Yeah,
like,
on all plastic.
Everything would go just through the tablet. And
I don't know. That would be... At the same time, that scares me because I think, like, what does that mean for the controller? Is that the controller? Is it just touchscreen controller again? Is it? I mean,
well, I guess saying like, I mean, I never know. Like the one thing with Nintendo is like they always like to go there, like the blue ocean strategy.
They always got to change some shit up. Right?
Sometimes it's good with like the Wii or something like that. Sometimes it's business wise it's good. Sometimes it's shit with like Star Fox Zero. When they try their hardest to be, we're gonna use all the interesting bits of our tablets and like dual screen thing, and it just turns out it's just like makes it harder to wrestle with the control rather than just benefiting the game at all.
Yeah. You gotta love Nintendo for, like, it doesn't stick to a specific foundation. They always try to make. They always try to break new barriers.
They're innovators.
Like, whether it works or not,
that, yeah.
They are always revolutionizing, like, the way people play games. Like, with the Wii, people thought there was going to be a huge flop, but, that shit worked. I guess the thing I love most about Nintendo is no matter how, like, unconventional or how unintuitive the method is, they always find a way to make it work. And I think that's what's so lovable about them. Like, when the DS came around, they were like, oh, fucking 2 screens? Nobody's going to pay attention to this shit. But they made it work eventually. Yeah. And it might take some time. It might take like 6 months. It might take a year. It might take multiple iterations. But they will always find a way to make that specific control input work.
Well, here's the thing. What I would say, just to kind of wrap it up and think, is that I can't imagine someone rooting for them to lose. Like maybe, if you're really that pessimistic.
Nintendo never loses.
Yeah. People, you want them to do good. That's why it's so frustrating. Is you want them to see like you have all these great, IPs, and you have all these great, all this promise and stuff you could do, and just link it all together. Somehow fix it and make it right and. I don't know. It is kind of depressing, but really quick,
and they always do with time.
Yeah, I would hope, but I don't know. Really quick, I want to ask a question to Varia since he's been so quiet. I want to ask you, and because also you're probably the one furthest away from this or feeling about Nintendo or whatever. But what would it? Well, take?
I grew up with Nintendo, so all my consoles, like as a kid, was just Nintendo, and I never really got anything else until I was in high school. So it's a really weird situation because I do have a Wii U. But I bought it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I was expecting Metroid. And if you remember, we were watching, I think it was E3 2014, where they announced the new Xenoblade game in animation where it was like a HUD coming up, and I thought it was a Metroid game, and that's the exact point where I lost all interest in that console.
Well, do you remember, too, the Federation Force thing, the 3DS game, when they announced it? They were like, this is Metroid, God. This looks nothing like what is going on.
I refuse to believe that the guy that's in charge of making that game, that's been his vision for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's
like
what he said.
I refuse to believe it's that. I can't imagine it being that.
I don't know. Well, what I was going to ask you is, what would it take, what would they have to do to make you want to buy an NX?
An NX?
Yeah.
Honestly, it'd just be like I'd be really happy with a whole bunch of like single player games because I think that's what Nintendo does best. I mean, like party games for sure, like Mario Party and stuff like that. But like, I really don't believe like online and multiplayer was their thing at all. I mean, like growing up, I played games mostly like by myself, and like Smash Bros with my brother. But like a lot of those games are just games where you like get together and you have to be like physically close to each other if you want to play multiplayer. So I think I want to see more like single player games, like Metroid. Pikmin was supposed to come out for Wii U. I'm not sure if it's still coming out for that. Pikmin 4. It's rumored that it's going to come out with the NX, but it's just rumors. There's that retro rumor that I think Hoot mentioned.
Yeah, like they're working
it's
on
a weird
something.
IP. No one really knows what it is, so might as well launch with that NX. So I think like a strong library starting out with the NX is like me buy it. Like an actual promise, not like saying, "Hey, this is what we plan." No, show me like the actual games it's gonna launch
actual
with.
launch. So software. All right. Well, let's take a quick break. Everybody get some water, and we'll be right back with more things to talk about. All right, welcome back. That was our little Nintendo corner.
I didn't even get water. Shut up.
Oh shoot! Sorry. Well,
We'll get some
power
water,
through,
guys. It's like
power
a
through.
20-second thing.
Yeah, guys,
Water.
it's
Welcome
okay. It
back.
takes like fucking 5 seconds to pour the water?
Come on, you don't have
Just to
your
boil it first.
wireless headset on.
It's fucking 2016 and you don't have a tap right next to your computer desk? What kind of fucking world are you living in, man?
It's like that picture of the dude who has his computer set up like right on his kitchen countertop, like right next to it.
That's a thing? Fucking hell.
I've seen, unfortunately,
He would wash his dishes in constant fear.
his computer would
Or
be
he
the
just
cleanest,
like eats off his fucking keyboard like a fucking animal.
like a pro,
Like a professional.
like a goddamn king. So I did forget to mention that they announced they're working on more mobile apps, Fire Emblem, and something for Animal Crossing. So that could be cool.
Bloody hell, mate. That's like 5 minutes ago. Just let it go.
All right, yeah.
Still no Mitomo for Switzerland.
Still no Mitomo.
It's dead. It's dead. I don't even launch it anymore.
Did you get
Yeah,
this
no,
Splatoon
it's not
hats?
even released and it's dead already.
Did you get this Splatoon hats, Varia?
I did. No, it's a drop. It's the drop, the game drop.
No, you get
thing.
them for free.
No, I only got like a boot, I think, and maybe. Yeah, I think I got the hair. Never mind.
Oh, well, anyway, so yeah.
It's
Animal
stupid.
Crossing,
Don't
that's
download
another thing.
Mitomo.
They need to do something else with Animal Crossing. I need it on a console. I need it. Not on, 3DS is cool. It's perfect. It works great with it, but like, it's been a while since, I don't know. But anyways, it's a mobile app apparently. So moving on from Nintendo, we wanted to talk about From Software. Yeah. They announced that they're working on a new IP and they're not gonna work on Dark Souls anymore at all. It's dead.
Thank God for that, by the way. Like it was starting to get a bit stale. Like even playing Dark Souls 2, it didn't have the same feel. The charm of Dark Souls was that it was a new thing. It was a medieval setting, a new combat system. Everything felt punishing. With Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, it just, I don't know, it felt like a repeat. It didn't even expand on the universe in its own way. The charm was always the gameplay.
I really wish the lore was more accessible. Like, I have no idea what those games are about at all. I know everything looks really cool and it's super challenging, but
The thing was that it required multiple playthroughs to really understand what was going on, because you had to read all the items and kind of piece everything together. Like once you sorted out all the story, it was very rewarding, but you didn't really know how to piece it together the first time you played through the game. Everything felt kind of, I don't know, unintuitive, I guess would be the word I'd use for it. And the same applied to Dark Souls 2 and 3, even though you'd already played the game already. I guess, it's part of the charm of the game, just, learning the game as you go. And it gave it a fair bit of replay value, but at the same time, make it more accessible to new people. There are some people that might, see a game, not see much substance initially, and just give up on it.
it's such a cool series. Like, I just it's like, it feels so much above, like, a lot of other games.
For me, I think it was our collective reaction when we heard the news, was thank God or thank fucking Christ.
Sigh of relief. Let it rest in peace.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is the first Souls plus Bloodborne. Like, absolutely love Bloodborne, because it's also kind of a bit of difference to the usual Souls, while still, like, keeping the same core, but it was also very different in terms of setting.
Yeah, can we just actually, like, talk about what made Bloodborne so refreshing? Like, for the most part, we can all agree that it, like, was very similar to Dark Souls, to Dark Souls, right? Like, it felt very similar, like, mechanics wise and combat wise, but it was just different enough to make it feel fresh, and it was a completely new environment. Everything just felt really, really good about it. Like, it felt like a new game without necessarily being a new game, if you understand what I mean.
It's like one thing that, because when usually you talk about Dark Souls, there's a lot of people usually will talk about mechanics, like the punishing mechanics, or like the challenge of the game, or just like the level design, and all these are like really also make a good Souls game. But what I like the most about Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne is also like they actually had new stuff to show and say. Like both of these games have specific themes, and they have like not only through story which you get through item description and stuff, but also the way you play. And it's subtle between Bloodborne and Dark Souls, but when you realize after playing Bloodborne and playing Dark Souls, like the core difference in how you play these games, where Bloodborne is way more aggressive, like it encourages you really going into it, while Dark Souls is more methodical.
Yeah, I remember actually like talking to one of you blokes about this. Like, who was it? Was it Varia? Was it you, mate?
About what?
About the core differences between what made Dark Souls 1 interesting and what made Bloodborne interesting. Because I definitely talked to one of you guys about this, didn't I?
Well, repeat the conversation or something. I'll remind us real quick.
Might have been me as well.
Because maybe I did. It wasn't
like, I remember going word for word, like talking about what made Dark Souls 2 stale, what made Dark Souls 3 even staler, or what made me very hesitant to buy it, and what made Bloodborne such a great game, in my opinion. Like, it was just... It felt like the same as Dark Souls, but it just deviated just enough to make it feel very fresh and very,
that's what I was
exciting.
Say, yeah.
It felt like a new game without necessarily being... shit. It sounds like such a stupid way to put this, but it felt like a new game without being a new game.
They built on everything they needed to build on in the exact right
way. Because Bloodborne, apart from being mechanically similar, has new stuff to tell you.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, I was kind of mad about Dark Souls 2.
It was a completely new universe, yeah.
Yeah, and like it has new themes, it has like just a new story to tell, which is a completely separate story. But like, I've been playing Dark Souls 3, and I'm like, this is the first time I'm officially like bored of a Souls game so early. Like, I do not want like to play it again until the DLC comes out. I
felt like the initial charm of the Dark Souls series was that it was so mechanically different from most other games that we had played of a AAA caliber. You know, like Call of Duty felt very straightforward. You know, all the new franchises coming forth had been very linear, very expected. Dark Souls initially brought something very new to the field, something like all the hardcore gamers of old. I feel so disgusting using that word, but hardcore gamers. Like, it brought them back into the fold, you know. It gave them something refreshing. It gave them something rewarding. You know, Dark Souls, you know, just brought so much to the field. And even the expansion, what was it called? I'm having a complete mind blank here. But whatever the expansion was, it felt like a continuation of the game itself. It felt like it fit in. Like with Dark Souls and its expansion, Scholar of the Old Sin or something like that. Scholar of something. Scholar of the fucking video games.
I know Mr. Who knows it. What is it called? Scholar of the
First Sin. That's it.
Yeah.
It just felt... It felt like actual DLC. It just felt like an add-on of the game instead of, you know, an incorporation into the story. I guess you can blame that partly on the fact that Dark Souls 2 and even Dark Souls 3 to an extent are handled by from B team. and with no say from the original director or the writers themselves. But Dark Souls 2 felt like an add-on, whereas, the Dark Souls original expansion felt like an actual expansion on the story itself. Everything felt connected, I guess.
Well, they really did come and it fucked shit up, the whole Souls series. But I was gonna say, the reason you probably felt bored is because it's like you've been playing the game, since Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
So that's why
nothing felt new. Yeah.
I've been going. Yeah, there's a bit of that. Like, I've been going through Dark Souls 3, and it's still like a very excellent game. Like, if compared to everything that comes out, like I would still recommend it. But yeah, I've been going through it the first time. I remember my feelings were pretty clear. It's like, it's another swamp/Blighttown area. Oh, it's another kind of catacombs. Oh, it's another kind of this or that. Like, the zones are very, very like themes and just the codes they answer to compared to previous Souls games is that there's very, very little surprise. Like, I think even ENB, like Epic Name Bro, one of the big YouTubers who does like Dark Souls video, he himself like said Dark Souls is dead in the sense that Dark Souls as a franchise right now cannot surprise anymore.
Yeah,
like they can still be this can still, and like when ENB himself, like one of the big corner stores of like community for Dark Souls, like says that like he didn't mean it like, oh, it's a bad game. It's more like, yeah, well,
it's finished.
No,
it's done.
It kind of said it peace, and I found for myself like Dark Souls said it peace after Dark Souls 1, because when you look at Dark Souls 2 and 3, most of its like story relies still on Dark Souls 1 without really expanding on it. Dark Souls 2 and 3, like even 3 even more, like says the exact same story.
I feel like they should have just left it at Dark Souls 1, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
ideally.
I mean, I don't mind, like, I don't resent these, like, I still enjoy playing them, and, like, it gives for an interesting perspective, like, now that these 3 are out, and, like, it also tells you about the limitations of From Software and Miyazaki. This is another thing I wanted to touch upon, is that people, like, fans of the Souls game have this tendency of, like, the deification of Miyazaki and FromSoft. To the point where they would take like everything from the game, even things I would think like are badly designed. Like no, they're brilliant. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience.
Yeah, like they could even do no wrong, right? Yeah.
Like these stuff has been broken since Souls 1 or Souls 2. Like there's some things I would genuinely wish they would make like fix or make more accessible. Like the NPC quest lines in Souls 3, some of them are ridiculous. And like the amount of stuff you have to do, like you can miss them so easily. And like I'm okay with like the story being a bit obtuse and like being laid out to you. I think that's actually pretty good because it all goes through mechanics and item description and all that stuff. But like there's some stuff that I find like is genuinely like badly designed in some places, and it's just like Souls 2 and Souls 3 kind of continue that trend, like Covenants as well. Like they haven't really been like fixed in any way. Like they've even been made worse in 3 for some reason, which I didn't know it was possible. And Bloodborne also had very.
I wouldn't call it worse necessarily. It just feels like more of the same.
It's more of the same. Like some like the Blue Sentinels and like the Dark Moon, all the stuff that relies you on helping people getting invaded. Like it doesn't really work all that well because of. Yeah,
well, think about it. Think about it in this regard. If you stumbled across Dark Souls 3 and played it for the first time, would you still get the same initial feeling that you did from the first Dark Souls?
Oh, probably, but I don't know. Part of the first, like, my experience for the first Dark Souls was a lot through the community. Like, the first Dark Souls also felt like Dark Souls, the Souls games are also very good. Like, I always encourage people, like, there's always that, like, they get good kind of mentality going on with Souls. But I always encourage, like, people, like, especially new people who get to play Dark Souls, like, you know what, like, look at YouTube videos, look at guides, look at commentaries, because it actually makes the experience easier. And yeah, like, you're gonna go the easy way at the beginning. You probably, like, if you play Dark Souls 1, you're gonna start, like, you're gonna get the dragon sword, like, the Drake sword. You're gonna get that
armor.
God,
the fucking Drake sword.
Yeah, like the easy mode sword, but like that's how I started. Really, like straight up, I took the Drake sword, And then I got comfortable, and then now I do like special runs when I like try to different builds, and like I try to never ever summon for bosses and stuff like that.
Ooh, brave.
But yeah, like I think it's the community effort, and community effort in Dark Souls 1 was great because yeah, it was so new, and like people kept discovering stuff, and like everything in Dark Souls 1 in terms of lore and story felt very coherent, even though like it was incomplete. It all felt part of the same world. It's same thing for Bloodborne, which is why I like Bloodborne so much. It felt like a coherent world compared to Souls 2 and 3. And 3, like I've been on the lore like threads recently.
I feel like the lore in 3 required a lot of prior knowledge to 2 and 1.
It requires a lot of that, and the new stuff they introduce is so like disjointed that everybody who talks about it, like it's all speculations, like oh, it might have been this, or it might have, like it's all fan fiction at this point.
That's actually the best description that I've ever heard of it. It's like a fan fiction artist depicted the Dark Souls universe and made a direct continuation of that. Holy shit, that is the best description I've ever heard of Dark Souls 2 in my life.
So yeah, like it's like because yeah, there's all these references to Dark Souls 1. It's like, hey, he's from Astora. Remember Astora? That was this land in Dark Souls 1. Like yeah, wasn't like this like destroyed. Like the weird thing is like you have this character from Astora, right? Like Henri of Astora in Dark Souls 3, and in the same game you get an item description that tells you, oh well, Astora has been destroyed like eons ago. So that's to that
Honestly.
fact. He's just like, hey, I'm from this land that should not exist anymore.
This sword has a dark, secret past.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like there's such a weird disconnect between certain elements of the game. Like I know it's like in Dark Souls 3, all the lands are converging, and like it's kind of like there's not a big logic to it, and that's kind of how it is. It's always so weird that it had like certain characters like Knight of Katarina. And like all these lands are way gone, but like it doesn't seem to phase them. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna go on an adventure. Like,
I still exist, even though I shouldn't.
Like we're living at like the end of the world. Like Dark Souls is always about entropy and like the ending of things, like the fading of the fire. And in Dark Souls 1, there was, like every NPC was related to that type of things. Like everybody was a bit desperate, or everybody was trying to cope with
Death.
Fact, and a way to try to like find the first flame. You had all the bosses were linked to the first flame, and Dark Souls 3 is more like a mishmash of kind of random people with their own agenda, despite the fact that the world is going to end again. But since it already did that for a few times, so who cares?
I love how this like conversation has devolved from like making a new IP to thank fuck Dark Souls is dead.
Well, that's the thing is you want to see it, you want to send it off right. So I'm glad that it's like
it's
I respect
like
them for bringing it to an
I
end.
feel like sending it off right would have been cutting it off on the first.
I mean, what do we think the new IP is going to be? You think it's going to be just Souls-like and a Neo or something?
I remember.
I'm really hoping it's not a Souls-like. I'm actually hoping they develop like a proper new game style.
Yeah.
Like I really develop on a new combat style and everything. Don't just rely on a deviation of your initial combat like you did Bloodborne. Like it felt like fresh enough, but I don't feel like they can do anything else with that combat. I really want them to work on a different kind of mentality.
Yeah, right. I want a dating sim. I think that's what
that'll be fun. I wish myself they would go for something more like mellow. Like I remember clearly Miyazaki, like one of his favorite games is Ico. Like that's what got him into game design and like making games. I would like him to go into something that's more comfy, like Ico.
Yes, comfy,
which is exploration and all that stuff.
Comfy is not what FromSoft is about, my friend.
Comfy is king.
I feel like it's wrong to expect that from them, just since they have such a huge fan base based on their dark and fuck, that sounds like a fan fiction. Dark and mysterious, like backstory.
Dark past.
I would say
FromSoft
Bloodborne.
has a dark and mysterious past.
FromSoft confirmed for being the Punisher of video.
Yeah, FromSoft is actually like a fan fiction in and of itself.
He's Batman. He's Dark Sonic.
That's too mean. No, but like I think they could do it all. Or either way.
I feel like they could take it on a tangent, but don't necessarily lose who they are as a developer. You know.
Or make Cyberpunk, like make Blame, like the manga Blame in video game form.
It's just gonna be a Dark Souls Lego game.
I'd be up for that.
I don't know, but all right. Well, that's our
these Lego games are surprisingly good.
They really are.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Barry, go ahead.
No,
earlier I said.
How fucking dare you?
Earlier I said, I wish there was a Kingsfield 2. I was not aware that there's already a Kingsfield 2. There's actually a Kingsfield 4.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I just want to,
like 5 of them.
Actually, there's a couple of them. Then there's like a spin-off, or remakes. I don't even know. I just want to take that back.
You don't necessarily have to retract your statement. Just fucking talk them into making a proper sequel.
The statement.
You can't. You can't also because that was a part that I was going to cut off, but now I can't cut it off. But anyways.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Kingsfield. I've never played it. Disclaimer.
Crazy. There's 4 of them?
Holy shit.
All right, moving on. Well, we've talked about Dark Souls probably. I think this is episode 4. We've talked about it once in at least every episode. So
yeah,
we're gonna let it die, just like From Software is gonna let it die. We're gonna let it rest.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about it this time to bring in a new IP.
Yeah, let's see what that is.
Okay, let's just go around and think what they're gonna make. What do you guys think?
So I'm just gonna say either gonna be like a futuristic thing, like either gonna go back to Armored Core or make like a Cyberpunk Blame Souls thing.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
I would be super fucking hyped for a Cyberpunk Souls.
Or they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna go more mellow and go do something that's more like Eco. Those are my 2 guesses. I really do think they're gonna they can completely shift away from Souls-like gameplay.
I do feel a strong urge I feel like Eco is the way they're going to pull towards, mainly kind of like an adventure exploration more kind of thing. But I still think there'll be a lot of Souls-like aspects, obviously. But I don't know. I don't think it will be anything that's straight up.
I think it's going to be obtuse as shit, and it's still going to have a Moonlight's great sword. Right. It might still have Patches, the asshole.
All right, here's my prediction on this. And feel free to quote me on this. Patch this in the future Comfycast when the new FromSoft IP is announced, and show me how ridiculously wrong I am. But I reckon there will be very, very minimal combat in the new FromSoft game. Extremely minimal. Combat will not be the focus.
I could see that. I could see it being a puzzle kind of game.
Yeah,
pull things and push things. Like I said, exploration. Vari, what do you think?
I think they're going to do a Silent Hills kind of thing. Kind of work with horror, because I think they can hit the nail on the head with horror if they really try.
I feel like that's their forte. That's actually where most of the Bloodborne's appeal is in the fact that it is so it feels so alien and Lovecraftian, and I really feel like they fucking hit the nail on the head with that one. That really hurt my hand. Cut that out, please.
No way. That's staying in. I could see that happening too. But I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, dating sim. Fuck it. Go all out.
Make a MOBA.
Tofu Dark Souls.
Oh god, they're gonna make
that'll be the lowest of the low. We're gonna make a Dark Souls MOBA.
Battle Bloodborne. Just like Battleborn, but with Bloodborne.
What are we gonna do on the mat, Noni-chan?
Oh god.
Oh fuck.
All right, moving on.
What are we gonna do in the bathroom, Noni-chan?
We cannot move past Souls.
Right. What was the other thing?
Moving on from Souls and From Software. The only other crazy big news that happened today, something that happened today, was Blackroom was canceled or put on pause. What's his name? Romero? Yeah.
Lamau. It didn't reach the funding.
No. He put it on pause because there was a huge outcry for actual gameplay demo, and they obviously didn't have one ready. So they decided that they were gonna stop all the funding. I don't know if that means they get to keep
Oh
it.
wow,
Or,
yeah,
I mean,
that's like 8 hours ago.
yeah, I don't know if they get to keep it or. Obviously, the way Kickstarter works, they don't get the money until it's done, or completely funded. But I don't know if that means when they if they're going to be able to just hit like an unpause and all that money's still there, or what. I don't know how that works. But as of now, you're not allowed to donate anymore, and I don't know if they'll have to restart all over or what. But they're
Sounds
not going to.
fucking shady to me.
It is kind of weird, but they're. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh no, this is not good." He's taking everybody's money and running. But then it was like, "Oh no, he's promising a demo, like a gameplay demo." So hopefully that'll. I mean, I don't know.
He's more honest than most.
Oh, that's always good, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I'm super weird about Kickstarter. Like I said, having the last thing I backed, actually the only thing I backed was Mighty Number 9, and we see how that turned out. But
Mighty Number 9 didn't even get the fucking pro tag that I want. Fuck that game.
I voted so many times.
The one game
I voted for F.
F, yeah.
F lost. Suck it.
I don't know, but so that's
one of the games at least I backed on Kickstarter was Hyperlight Drifter. That came out good, so I'm happy.
That's true. I didn't back that, but I still need to go and play that. Yeah, so we'll wait and see what they're gonna do with that FPS.
Kickstarter, can I plug something?
Sure.
Please plug it. Go ahead. I'm begging for you to put that on Kickstarter.
So
fucking, it's shill time. Fucking shill variety out here.
So
actually, you have any news on Starfallen?
Not yet. Like trailer is still in the making, and like everything is being prepared for like the convention next week. I can tell you that we have new mini boss working now, and shops are working, and new items are being made.
Where can they go for regular updates on that program, Mr. Hood?
It's funny, Reddit actually said that.
Exactly, that exact sentence.
Well, you can go on Twitter at Play Starfallen.
Every fucking Comfycast until you like it, viewers. You have
actually slick. There was a stream this morning. He didn't tell anyone.
I saw it.
Oh yeah, there was some programmer streaming. We do that sometimes.
I heard your voice.
I heard you.
Oh yeah,
I saw that can of Coke.
No can of Coke crush. Yeah. But anyway, coming back. So for people who might remember, I'm a dev from Switzerland, and I always try to plug stuff that's being made here because we have a shitty game dev scene.
Don't call them shitty games, man.
Insulting all your friends in one.
I meant in the sense that we don't have like a very large game dev.
You don't have support or anything, right?
Yeah, so we have very good games, but not a lot of them come out of Switzerland.
Well, we try to keep updated on that too. I think it's been. I don't think we've talked about it since the first episode though, so I don't feel like we're that much of shills. But it's always good to check in with you. At least we have someone who knows what they're doing as far as video games goes.
But anyway, just quickly, so it's a little game made by full disclosure friends of mine from Zurich, who are making a genetic survival game. So if you guys have played a very old game called Creature, by any chance?
Never.
Creature.
So it's basically like you can kind of generate your creature, so to speak, and give them like specific attributes that do specific action. And the game I'm going to plug is called Niche, so Niche. It's on Kickstarter right now.
Sounds like an Evolve clone to me. 0 out of 10. Get it out of here.
So it's basically like you have these little creatures, and they all have different traits that you can breed between them, and it plays kind of like a board strategy game where you have to send your animals across the world, and like they keep finding like new attributes, and then you can kind of start crossbreeding. So it's kind of a mix between like creatures spore, like the expression is creatures spore and don't starve.
That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. It sounds like it's incorporating a bit of like Risk in there, a bit of the classic board games as well.
Yeah, there's a very much a board game aspect, and I've played like several versions of that game. And for me, the addictive part is really trying to get the best like breed of creature you can get, because like every time you breed two of your creatures, you can get new traits, so like you can try to mix and match. And
does it work the way that, like, if you go to a new area, there are other, creatures that you can incorporate into your thing?
Yeah,
I can actually see myself getting into that.
Yeah,
Does
you
it
can
work
find
like
new
Pretty popular when
creatures.
it's done.
where you have to walk around like 500 steps to hatch an egg?
Oh no, it's like you have to wait. It's more like a strategy like game where you have to wait a few turns before
Yeah,
like.
so 500 turns before you hatch it.
Of course.
It's more like I think it's like 2 or 3 or something like that. So like
Games are
not even
10
that.
matches are 10 hours long. I'm trying to hatch this
That's,
Pikachu. Well, that
also,
sounds
like,
really cool.
There's different like zones, so you have to need some special creatures to go like in cold areas or hot areas, and you have predators, so you have to defend against them. So yeah, it's a pretty damn cool game made by a small team. So you can check out on Kickstarter like niche,
Niche.
genetic survival game, and
Niche.
they don't
Check
ask
it
for
out.
much. Like they ask for like
You
15.
could you give the podcast a description of that Kickstarter link, please?
I think he asked you to link the Kickstarter after you just described it.
Oh,
Search
almost
niche
forgot.
on Kickstarter. All right,
Let me give the link.
they're not paying me. When they pay me, we can give them a full link and everything. Search niche on Kickstarter.
Implying any Swiss dev is paid.
I know that's true. I would
Well,
never ask
they
them for
might
me.
as well. Like they don't ask for much. Like they ask for like 15,000, and then like at 7,000 already. So
I don't know. I
pretty-
guess
pretty
got
base
money
levels.
Yeah, their bank account balance is always at 0. So
Don't lie, mate. I know it's at least at 50 cents.
do they accept food stamps?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, moving on. Well, actually, I don't think we have much to talk about, unless anyone else. Much less to talk about. I have written down too. Also, Borderlands 3 got announced. They're working on it. Borderlands.
Fuck off.
Hey,
Can you
look,
not?
no, Anthony Birch, he's gone, right? So who knows? It could be cool. It could
I'm
be a
just
good
tired
story.
of that game.
It
I
could
don't know.
also lose
Yeah.
like all of the flavor that could actually make it Dark Souls. Dark
Oh,
Souls.
God.
Fucking hell.
We're moving
I still
back.
want to talk about Dark
I
Souls,
know.
even though we're not
Let
talking
it go.
about Dark Souls.
From did. Let it
Fuck
go.
me running.
Well,
I feel like it's going to lose all of the flavor that makes it Borderlands, but at the same time, like Battleborn has just been released, and you know that's got all the quirkiness that used to be in Borderlands.
I
Yeah,
think
well,
we'll
they said-
immediately forget about this news when the podcast ends.
Well, they said other than Battleborn DLC, that's what they're working on next. So who knows? It'll probably be still like 2 years off.
Is it the most modern video game name you've ever heard, like Battleborn?
Yeah, it's so. Oh man, like I said, love.
I,
on that
I
other
feel like the
podcast.
name itself turns people off from the actual game.
It
From what
turns
I've
me
seen
off.
of the actual game, it actually looks really fucking good.
No, yeah, we
But
talked
I
about
feel
this last
like-
time. It's fun.
I feel like
it's a good
the
game.
name itself is so goddamn generic that people will probably just see it a bit. Oh,
Yeah, it's
Like,
very
it's-
bad.
it's a type of
we'll
name
probably see
you
it
would
and just
hear
be
like
like,
in
"Oh,
a
fuck it,
series.
this is another generic fucking Call of Duty game. See you later."
It's
nerds."
very
It's
bad
like-
branding. It's very bad
Battleborn
branding.
is the type of name we'd hear like in a TV series when they're playing a fake video game, like in a cop show. Like, what is
Yeah.
this game these kids are playing? Oh, it's called Battleborn. It's a new.
CD, all we can hear is your typing.
Fucking mechanical keyboard. No, fucking
damn it.
mechanical keyboards, man. They're fucking top level.
Oh my god.
Um,
Shots fired. Yeah, Battleborn. I mean, I don't know. I tried the demo. It was good. I don't think I'll pick it up. At least not at full price. Maybe it goes on sale. But it was. I did have fun with it. But yeah, Borderlands 3. We played a bunch of Borderlands, Vario. We played it for a while. I mean,
Shut
come
up, I don't
on.
remember.
You have it.
No,
think
I
it's your
stopped-
third
I
most
stopped
played
at
game
60
on Steam.
I stopped personally at 60 hours. That's just me. And then you guys are like, "Oh, reinstall it. We're gonna do a run," and we never finished any run. So we did two. We started 2 runs. The first one we kind of stopped because someone dropped or that we were like too over leveled or something. So we started again, and then we kept going. And the second run we got farther, but we never ended. We never finished the game. So I clocked in like another 60 hours into that stupid game that I hate, that I only like tolerated because you guys made me play it, and I can't stand
I
it.
don't think it was that bad. I like the looting stuff. I don't know. We'll see. If it's just the same thing, then it's probably going to be a
I got
pass.
tired of pressing E to
Yeah,
like collect
that's-
everything.
I think I have like 70 keys still. I should just go and unlock that. Like, you know, the Gearbox had those keys. Like, they would give them away. I have like 70 saved up. I should just go in and see what guns I get.
Just do
Anyways.
a stream, dude. Just do a fucking box unlocking stream. Like,
Hey,
become
YouTube,
the next Phantom Lord.
I'm
man.
gonna have a key giveaway for once I hit 100 likes. I don't know, but yeah. So that's that. Persona 5. They have a countdown on
what's that?
up till May 5th. Oh, come on now, you're gonna make me cry. Countdown. There's a
I
countdown
feel
to
like
May
that game's
5th.
going to be more of the same, man. I'm really scared for it.
I just hope it's not another delay. That would suck. I doubt it, but who knows? And I also
Being a
don't.
few game
It's the
player, I really
fucking
doubt it's gonna be more
21st
of the
century,
same.
Reddish. You know there's going to be delays.
This would be the third delay, I think, if they were to say it was delayed again.
There are delays on top of delays, man.
It's funny though.
fucking-
You can still see him. I mean, obviously, if you search, you'll find the image that's like Persona 5 PS3 winter 2014, and people are like, "Is it 2014 yet?" I don't know, but yeah, I'm super excited for that. But I'm probably gonna miss the stream because it's like at a weird time overnight on a Tuesday. But let's see what
Stay
they
up late,
announce.
you know. What kind of game
Oh,
are
I have to.
you?
I actually work overnight, so I'll be at work. That's what sucks. But
Just watch the stream at work.
if only I could
Get fired. Live life.
get paid
to the fullest.
What are you
Get
doing over
fired.
there? Oh, just watching video game news. That looks like an anime. Yeah, I know.
It is an anime.
It is.
You don't understand. This is who I am.
You don't
I'm
know
Japanese
me.
now, okay?
Other than that, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So let's go into. Anyone else have anything else they want to talk about?
Well, has anyone from this general area played Stardew Valley?
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
have.
man, a lot.
Oh, fantastic
No.
fucking game. I haven't played it in a while, but I've racked up over 50 hours in it. And all I can say is the harvest is bountiful this year.
Man, there's so much to do in that game that I had to stop because it was overwhelming.
But isn't
And
that what makes the game so fucking
Yeah.
good?
it is, and that's why I would recommend it to anyone because it's a huge time sink and it's well worth your money. It's just God, it was I don't remember the last thing I did in that game, but it was a lot to do. I played it because we did talk about this on one of the other episodes, but I played it after that a little bit. But again, it's just like it gets to be so much. I still need to find someone to marry and all that stuff. I haven't done any of that. Maybe I'm gonna play that. I'll play that this weekend.
Leah is my waifu. If you don't have Leah as a waifu, you can't be in my waifu.
Is she the one with the braid on the side that goes down?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
she's
no.
best.
That's fucking Jodie, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know that name. I know a Leia and a Pam.
There's
They're
a
Pam.
chick with brown hair and there's a chick with ginger hair. Who are you talking
The
about?
ginger hair, the one that wears green.
The ginger hair. Fuck yeah, Leah.
Yeah, she's the best. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'll go play that. But yeah, that is a good game. All right, let's go into our last segment. Which, are you ready this time? Because last time you weren't ready at all.
I'm ready. I got the card picked out.
All right, we're gonna go to the compendium. Varia. It is. Oh, CD, do you know what this is? Have you heard of
No,
it?
I have absolutely no idea.
sorry,
I've
okay,
never made
the
it this far
compendium
into the
is-
podcast. Apologies.
The compendium is the last thing we do always, and it's where Varia draws a card with a random topic, and we talk about it. It's either a question or just something to talk about. So
You know how good I am with impromptu topics. How did
this will
you
be
think
great.
Tom...
Don't worry, it's
Tom
really
Holland's
special.
skin
It's a good
came
one.
all right, Varia, what do we got?
Okay, so everyone pick a pastry, and you have to say it into the mic, so you can't change later.
Pastry.
Pastry.
Yeah, pick a pastry. Say it.
Pie crust.
What?
Pie
It's
crust.
a pie crust.
Pie crust.
Oh, pie crust. Okay, you go?
The thing is, pastry. Like, I don't know the name of the pastries I eat here in English.
Describe
What's
it.
So there's a thing that only exists here, right? It's called a karak. And it's
You
basically
said carrot. It's like carrots exist
yeah,
everywhere.
it's a carrot. No, it's CARAC.
What is it exactly?
It's like a little. It's like a little chocolate, a tiny chocolate filled pie. Like it has it's biscuit with chocolate in it, and then like green glaze over it.
I think we have something like that over in Oz. It's called pods. They're really nice.
Pods. I
Wait,
think these are the alien invasion you get every year.
is it gonna matter, Varia, if we don't know exactly
It
what
does
it is?
matter. It does matter.
So can it not be Carrick?
If he wants it to be Carrick, it could be Carrick. I don't care.
Okay,
Just
alright.
pick one.
That's the pastry I eat the most. I love it.
All right, so you got pie crust, Carrick. I'll say croissant. Can I say croissant?
Sure.
I mean,
I'll say
that's
cinnamon
a
roll.
bakery good, not necessarily a pastry. That's more of a type of bread.
All right, I'll
isn't
say
it?
empanada. Do you all know what empanada is?
No.
Describe it for everyone.
It's a Mexican pastry filled with like pumpkin.
Kind of looks like
Pumpkin's
pie
my
crust too.
trigger.
Yeah, I guess it kind of is. So yeah, I'll say
Okay,
pumpkin
anyway.
empanada.
Mine is a cinnamon roll, if that's okay with everyone.
Oh, you can pick
Yeah.
cinnamon roll, but I can't pick croissant. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so now you have to design an RPG class around this pastry.
What? Oh my god.
An RPG class.
Make our mouth water, Varia. Describe it in the most eloquent, like, tastiest way possible.
Yeah, you go first, Varia. This is your card.
Me? Oh man, I still have to think. I was hoping you guys would be quicker.
An RPG class? Like,
Okay, so I'll give you an example. I think I got one. So my cinnamon roll class, right? So you know how it's like kind of swirly? So my cinnamon roll class can this is kind of like playing that game super whatever. You know, remember that tabletop simulator game that we played, that like super, you know, where you make your own superhero?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that shit was the best. Fucking sad.
So
Cody was
similar
the
to that.
bomb.
So my cinnamon roll class can actually hypnotize people with the cinnamon swirl, because no one can really see the taste of the cinnamon roll.
damn
You
it.
see why people enjoy the taste of the cinnamon roll? You can't, because it's like a swirl, and it confuses people before they get the chance to actually understand and, you know, see that it's actually a cinnamon roll. So it's basically like a confusion-based class, uses magic, and it has to be short range though, because you can't really confuse people from far away, and it has to be constantly spinning. So you have to be like, your aura has to be like top notch. You have to control that cinnamon roll.
All right. Here's my cinnamon roll. It's
Wait, what?
It's kind of the same
Your
system. It
pie
can only
crust.
spin so fast,
You have to
but it
make
has
your own
fucking
pie crust.
super speed, so it can like twist through people and like fucking impale them with deliciousness. It's gonna be like the best fucking super cinnamon roll ever.
Then you
Wait.
choose pie crust.
Yeah, didn't you choose pie crust?
Yeah, dude, pie crust. Like, tell us about your pie
Yeah, well,
crust class.
fucking pie. All right. So pie crust. It can be filled with literally anything you desire. It can be apple, it can be meat. Personally, I would choose meat because meat is amazing. It's got lots of protein, lots of necessary, you know, vitamins and all that healthy shit. I don't know. But pie crust, I feel like its superpower would be irresistibility, I guess. It'd be like the fucking corner slut of all pastries.
Man, all right.
Forgive my language again. I should probably be saying that about 50 more times during this podcast.
Perfect.
I'm
We'll
not
just
sure
turn
what
on the
rating.
beeps.
Yeah, I'm not sure what rating this is, but pie crust. Obviously, it can be filled with anything. Cinnamon roll, it can only be filled with like a few things, like jam or whatever. Pie crust is essentially unlimited. It can be filled with pretty much anything under the sun, and it
So
would
you're
still
a
taste
class
good with the right toppings.
that can like change, like can manipulate itself.
Yeah, it's a versatile one. Think about it as like mimics.
Gotcha.
It's a mimic class.
It's the ditto of. I'm looking at this in Pokemon because when you were saying about like its attacks and stuff as a cinnamon roll, like hypnotize, and then you're saying like it mimics. So I would say mine then as an empanada, pumpkin empanada. It's heavy, so it's a heavy class. It's a
strength class.
Yeah, it's strength. It's very much strength.
The strength,
And it is just one filling, but it's one of the it's not like a mimic. It knows what it's what it's good at, what it does. It's all pumpkin based attacks. Actually, there are different types of empanadas, though, but I said pumpkin, so I'll go with pumpkin. It has I would say it has a regenerative ability as well, because
Oh, can you just like prepare another meal on the dot? Can you? No, I'm not buying it, man.
because when I eat it, it's good. I don't know. I legitimately have no reason. It's as a pumpkin, as part pumpkin, it can go like its roots into. I don't know how pumpkins work. Fuck it.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that.
Would you say it's just
Pumpkin
more
seeds.
like a health potion in that sense?
All right, yeah, that would work.
Right, so I
That's-
know.
I wouldn't call it regenerative.
Fine.
I know mine.
Because regenerative would imply that it can sustain itself in a
You
way.
eat it and then it comes back.
Oh shit.
Dude, can you imagine that?
I'll be right
Your
back. I
fridge
just
would
have an
never
idea.
go empty, ever.
All right, who?
Right, so my pastry, like, it has two main things. It's like it's very flashy because like it's bright green, and
Oh, it's distracting.
Jesus Christ, that
It's-
sounds
it-
radioactive. Get it
and
away
it
from me.
tastes very sweet. So I would say like it makes me think of like kind of I'll probably be a mesmer type of class, like in Guild Wars.
Oh yeah. very flashy.
Oh man, Guild Wars, that's a game that has not been relevant in a long time.
I know,
Oh,
but it
man.
just made me think of something very flashy that like talks sweet to you, just stuff.
Man,
It's like-
On that subject, do you remember when everybody was hype about Guild Wars 2? Like, when that came out, everybody was like, oh man, this combat system is going to be so fucking innovative. And then it literally died in less than 2 months. Like,
sure came out.
I'm pretty sure it actually set the record for, like, quickest the game has died.
Yeah, I
You're
would say
hurting
that-
Reddish
I'm
too
thinking
much.
that goes still to Warhammer.
Oh no, I
man.
was being quiet because it was a plane crashing. No, you're right. I haven't crashing. I'm sorry, passing. No, I haven't played it in a long time, but it was all right but there was a lot of hype around it and then it just died off. But I think
It died off very quickly.
there's still a pretty big base that plays it, especially since they went free to play. And I've been trying to get people to play together for a long time. I gave up, but because it's
I'm
free to
always
play, I was like,
tempted, but yeah, it's like
'cause
always
it's
the
free to
beginning
play.
of that game.
other than like
I would-
Final Fantasy,
I would
was
be more lenient towards playing like something like WildStar, to be honest, because it's got like the perfect mix of Ratchet and Clank MMO feel to me. Like, it's got that kind of art style, and like it just appeals to me so much more than Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars
did
2
you play
just
Guild
feels
Wars
like
2?
your
Did you play
vanilla
it?
like hack and slash.
Did you play it?
Did I play WildStar? Yes, I played
No,
WildStar.
Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, I played a fair bit of it. I got to like level 40 or some shit, and then it just felt really like repetitive and monotonous to me. Like it kept saying throughout, you know, its whole advertising campaign and its whole like marketing scheme that it was, you know, a whole new way to play like MMOs. Like everything felt dynamic. But it at the end of the day, it just felt like you were doing more of the same thing, just like traveling to different areas to do different things.
Yeah, MMO
Basically
stuff.
the same things that you would do in, say, World of Warcraft or any other MMO ever, just in different areas at different times. That's all the difference there was to it.
Yeah, I would say it does suffer from that, like pretty much all other MMOs. I like that, you know, the fetch quest kind of stuff you could return. I mean, you didn't have to go back to people every time you return them and stuff.
That was actually my least favorite quest. But
it had pros and cons, I would say, but I don't know. I don't know how we start talking about Guild Wars.
I definitely noticed the cons more.
Yeah, it did die out. I mean, they went free to play for a reason, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All MMOs have to go free to play eventually, except for fucking Blizzard. They're stubborn as fuck.
Yeah,
They got to get their money off the Chinese gold
And Final Fantasy 14 for some reason. Anyway,
anyways,
I think
yeah. All right. Well,
Packed
that brings
podcast.
us to the end of the episode. Then, yeah. Who?
2 hours. I think it's the longest one.
Yeah, probably. Well, 4 of us from the get go, not like last time. But anyways, yeah, it brings us to the end of the podcast. Thanks anyone, whoever was listening, all 3 of you.
Joining.
4 of you maybe.
I'm including one of them. Thank you for listening to me.
I'll
Mimi.
listen to you in the future, me.
meme. Yeah. So come on by the Dub Track room, like we always say. Let us know what you want to talk about. We do have our Twitter, which is at Comfycast. Yeah, thanks for listening. Y'all want to say goodbye?
Yeah, give me
Bye.
1 second.
Oh no, what's happening?
Watching
I love
at
you
the
all,
end.
Dub Track, even though I never come to visit you. You suck. You're worse than plugged to DJ.
All right. Bye, guys.
Sorry.
Alright, yeah, bye.
I just heard one little honk.